Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Darkfeast Blood list for rotation, one of the top tier decks at the current stage, right up there with the, of course, Mecha Blood decks, which are doing quite well as well, I guess, is how I can put it. As that's it. There's some of the top decks right now going around in rotation, so it's no real surprise that Darkfeast Bat is still doing very well. Really the only addition, of course, always going to be Unleash Nightmare, as really nothing major needs to change for this deck as far as things go. A lot of people running Kiss of Lust now. Not a big surprise. Very good card to run overall, so we're going to get right into it and check it out. So, starting us off, we're actually going up against a BloodCraft ourselves. No surprise there, as I mentioned, it's still a reasonably common deck. I still don't think it's as common as facing Sword and Dragon, but Blood is definitely right up there in the top 3 spots at the moment. Of course, we start off with a pretty average hand. Personally, I like to aim for any kind of low drops and zero cost drops where possible in the early game. Sometimes that doesn't always work out, but when it does, it makes for a very easy snowball. And of course, Alexandrite Demon. Pulling a Blazing Sapphire is always a good way to go at the beginning, since you can easily play it out in the early game and get that impactful draw and self-damage later on. So looking at a very healthy turn 4 with double gift and a couple of other decent cards to go along with this. The only real disadvantage, of course, is now dealing with this current board state, since it looks like they are going for their own Florist play, which now basically forces me to hard counter, which is not something I like to do often. And honestly, I probably should have went for the gift play. Double gift, suicided, then attacked things in. Would have limited their bats. So, an ordering mistake that's easy to fix if you, of course, plan things out a little better. But this is a pretty decent counterplay, considering the situation. And now we're on a very neutral board setup. Very close in life totals and looking to basically play turn for turn now. Fortunately, I couldn't find anything to use, so double draw was really my only choice, other than just spamming Servant or something to the board. At least now I have a chance to use something. Like these, Omens actually end up being a really nice play. I can go for a double Omen, send all the damage to face, and potentially set up for lethal next turn. Plus, since our opponent's only going to be on turn 6 themselves, they're not going to have an easy time dealing with this. And we do still have Vera for turn 7, which is typically how I like to use her. Turn 7 play where you can just defend is usually quite an advantage to have. Also, any kind of decent draw power here would just close out the game too, so that's always really nice. And of course, they were going to trade since they couldn't heal. And now our Vera play. We may as well add some healing onto that with Wings of Lust, since there's no real downfall to it. So healing for 6, taking us to 15, making it almost impossible for them to close out the game in a single turn. And our self-damage counter should be well and truly high enough that Darkfeast Bat can take most things out regardless of if they heal up. So we're looking at turn 8 Darkfeast Bat victory. No real surprise going first though against Blood. Typically, if you're in a mirror like this, going first is really the decider in most matches. So no huge shock, but I think it showed off this deck fairly well overall. For our next matchup, we are up against Dragon.
Time to get started. Shall we cross swords?
Starting off with a pretty mediocre hand overall. I'd much prefer to get some zero drops in, or even Unleash Nightmare, both really good drops for the early game. We had some okay ones with Kiss of Lust, but I really wanted to sacrifice whatever I could to get anything ahead. Plus going second with a double draw really makes up that difference okay. So we're looking at a decent Alexandrite Demon play. considering they already started to ramp, we're not looking in good shape to, of course, get ahead in this match. So we need to be the ones putting as much pressure down as we can. And so far we're doing a good job of that. Sneer of Disdain, good play on their part, being able to deal with my entire board. And an Evoed Florist to really force them to make a move. If they don't kill this, taking 7 damage is really going to hurt. And if they do kill this, of course, they're going to have to waste something. In this case, it's going to be Omen of Disdain, which is a really good card to force them to waste. Even if the healing made 0 difference to me. And now for a decent chance at Vera, going for, of course, things like a Blood Pact, where we can actually look for more cards for free without taking any damage. And I kind of have to play Gift if I don't want to burn my next card. Probably should have used Vera to kill off the 1-1, but it wasn't really a big deal. Sure, I would have had a 1-1 left, but that's a risk I was willing to take. So the tricky ones here is removing this follower, since he is quite large now at 13. So I do need to take him out. The best way I could come up with was Alexandrite Demon, since our Valkyrie wasn't actually active. So we couldn't use Omen to remove it. But to get rid of such a big drop was very important. Now it's really just a matter of what do we do here. No play is going to work perfectly against this, which is a little disappointing. But we can at least try and bait in some damage. Although Proto Bahamut is an insane one for them to go for. So we do need to take both of these out as effectively as possible. Evil Eye Demon will do that job. Being able to use her, since our Valkyrie still isn't active. We've taken a very slow amount of self-damage this game, which has made things a little trickier than normal. At least Gift of Bloodkin, I think, should put us very close. It's also a very different dragon deck. It's not one that I've gone up against a lot, so it definitely made this more interesting. Darkfeast Bat for 5 damage, because we're still just short on getting Valkyrie out. Or Valinary. Either way, I don't care. Valkyrie, I like that better for the whole Archangel Wing style. So Omen will do a really good job at picking these up now. Cleaning out the space while at the same time letting us go face. So dealing 11 damage. And healing, of course, 7 because of our Darkfeast Bat. Puts it a lot less of a risk. And our opponent just passed, obviously realizing they couldn't compete with that. Overall, I found Darkfeast Bat to be a pretty sturdy deck. The only real downfall of it was bricking. If you brick in the early game, of course, it's basically an instant loss, and that was always a little depressing. Of course, improving plays will definitely help. I've had a fair bit of practice with Darkfeast Bat in general, but since the meta shift, I haven't played it a lot, so I was a little rusty for some of these games, and that really did affect how I was playing the deck. I think with a good few hours of gameplay, I could easily bring this up to a point where I'd be happy to try and start ranking with it. At least in my opinion. So if you guys did enjoy this video, do be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and check out the deck list in the description below. Till next time, guys, see ya.